If I was a mummy, I would be super ineffective. I'm already super clumsy, so the whole shuffling your feet crap would just not work with me.
Did you hear about the dog that escaped from the pound? He's weightless now.
Did you guys know in 1922 when they discovered Tutankhamun's tomb, there was a big curse that was written like on the walls and stuff, and nobody really believed it except for the guy who dug it up. And then in the 1930s, there was 22 deaths among those who discovered the tomb. So I think the curse was real.
Holy cow!
Welcome to the
I
Council of
didn't know that.
Nerds.
The Council of Nerds.
Well,
Welcome,
welcome aboard
welcome.
to the spoopy month of
Spooky.
October.
Yay.
We did our nerdy news last week, which was Sans spook. No spook there. But we're going to talk
Free.
about some spookier topics for the rest of the month. And this week's topic is the Mummy movie trilogy. And for me, that excludes the reboot with Tom Cruise in it. But that's functionally what I will be talking about because I never saw the one with Tom Cruise.
I didn't either.
I didn't even hear if it was
I
good
have
or
not either.
bad or any of it. I heard it
Um,
didn't do very well in the box office, but that's all I really know about it.
I
I was
heard
just about to look that up.
I heard that they actually were gonna cast Tom Cruise for the original Mummies, and they didn't.
Yeah, they're looking
They
at
were.
Tom
They turned it
Cruise,
down.
Brad Pitt, and Leonardo DiCaprio,
I'm so
and
glad Brendan
then
Fraser got it.
Me
they
too.
landed on the guy who played a caveman in Encino Man.
George,
So
George, George of the Jungle.
Yeah, he also
and
played
George of the
Jaws.
Jungle.
Yeah,
He's also George of the Jungle. Oh, Brandon Fraser.
that
I
guy's
really
good.
and he's in that live action's Looney Tunes movie.
That's right. What is that called
So
again?
I
Toon
don't
Toon something.
I don't know.
I don't
Hold
know.
on, I got this.
It's fine. But I honestly, I want to say, first things first. I remember watching The Mummy for the first time. I don't remember what year. I was probably like 10. But rewatching, I watched the first one. I don't have the second one and it's nowhere else. So I can't find it. But the first one, that movie is really good. It's a really good movie. I would say it's kind of like it's like a ancient Egyptian artifact version of Indiana Jones with Brendan Fraser instead of Harrison Ford. And I honestly will say it's comparable. I mean, Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones is great, but Brendan Fraser in The Mummy, great. Great effects, too.
Yeah, I think Brendan Fraser played it perfectly. Like when you look at his other roles that he had done too, none of them were very much in the venue of what he did with this
Yeah.
role. And I love his just callous attitude all the time, especially in the first movie with Benny,
Yeah.
the weird guy who's just
Yeah.
there all the time. And he's just like they're on the boat and he's like, "See you later, Benny," and he just throws him off the boat. And I was just like, "Yes, that
I
is
like when
so perfect."
I like when he's like, looks like we have all the horses, and then Brendan Fraser's like, looks like you're on the wrong side of the river, and then Benny's like,
Yeah.
ah, crap.
Favorite.
He has a good wit in the way that his character was written and he delivers it really well.
Yeah,
Not that he hadn't done that in other movies, but I don't know. He just
it
fit
just
really
works.
well.
Yeah.
And I was really bummed that something happened to Brandon Fraser where he just wasn't in Hollywood for a long time and I don't know what it
I
was.
I read
Yeah.
about it once. It had to do with like his I think he got divorced or something, and then like his ex-wife started like spreading some terrible rumors about him, and then Hollywood just didn't want to hire him, and there was all
Mm.
this dramatic stuff, and it kind of ruined. He got depressed, so it was really sad because he's a really good guy.
Yeah, I know he's in some. It was like a sci-fi show where he's playing some random B-list superhero in this show about B-list superheroes,
That's funny.
where he's made of metal. Like I don't know, like rusty metal, not like Colossus and X-Men, but like
Oxidized.
rusted, gross metal, and it's super interesting. I haven't picked it up and watched it, but he's definitely chunkier than when
Yeah,
he was in the Mummy movie,
yeah.
for sure.
He gained a lot of weight. I think it was because of like depression, but from what I read, There's a whole thing on it. I remember reading it once for some reason. I think I read it just because like I watched George of the Jungle and I was like, what happened to this guy? Like, he's pretty funny. And then I got into it. I was like, oh, that's pretty sad. Like, his history is kind of sad. But great movie. A lot of fun facts. Also spooky. Like, very spooky. And
Yeah, it scared the crap out of me as a kid.
yeah, and also I like ancient Egypt is really like really interesting. I got really into just like looking
yeah.
up a bunch of facts about ancient Egypt and just like secrets and mysteries that we still don't understand to this day.
Well, that's the interesting thing about the movie is that there is evidence that these people did exist. Imhotep. There's like histories on an actual priest of the pharaoh named Imhotep and a Naxuna moon and all these people that like historically did exist. And people said that he did have these crazy powers given to him from the gods in like a historical sense. And so it's really interesting to see the influence there. And I think it's kind of funny you brought up the similarities to Indiana Jones and the Mummy. The Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland and the Mummy ride at Universal Studios in Los Angeles are very similar as well. They're that
really?
kind of like in a car, like rickety going through things. It's kind of slowish and you're kind of just driving around, kind of that style. But what's interesting is the Mummy ride at Universal Studios in Orlando is the fastest indoor roller coaster on the East Coast. I was not expecting that when I went on that ride.
It's pretty quick.
I'm expecting Indiana Jones, and I got freaking turbo. Like my brain
like
was
whiplash.
out. Like it was bad. My feet were in my mouth. It was ridiculous.
That was my
Great
favorite ride. Yeah, it was my
Great
favorite
ride.
one.
That's funny. The Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland is my favorite ride at Disneyland. In fun fact, life fact, in 9th grade, for band, yes, I was in band, which means I definitely qualify for this podcast. We did a big trip we did like a what is it called? Like a competition, a band competition in California, and it was in Anaheim, and so we got to go to Disneyland. I think the competition was put on by Disneyland, and our friend broke his ankle playing basketball the night before we left, so he was in a wheelchair the whole time, and so we all got we got to cut in line on everything, and we rode.
That's nice.
Dude, we rode Indiana Jones like 7 or 8 times in a row.
You'd think the workers would be like, no, okay, you've ridden this ride
right?
like 9 times.
Dude.
You're done. Like,
I bet
I
people
gotta
were
like
just tired
break
of us.
my leg next time.
Dude, do it.
I just gotta go in there with like a broken leg or something.
It's the way
or
to
even just
do
a
it.
cast.
As long as your friends are like willing to push you in the wheelchair, do it. But yeah.
Like that.
well,
well,
back to the movie. You were talking about the effects earlier, Logan.
Yeah.
Fun fact about some of the effects: all of the ballistics were CGI due to the sand. So every time you saw like the sand kick up when they were running away and the sand was kicking up with bullets and stuff, that was all CGI apparently, just because they couldn't get the sand to actually function with the ballistics the way that they wanted it to.
Kind of makes sense.
And I never noticed. Like, I never thought that looked anything other than real. So that's really interesting. Also, just like to say, those freaking scarab beetles can never really exist in real life, and I'd be totally okay with it. They can just stay in my nightmares, and everything will be fine.
I wonder if they were a real thing. Like, if they're based off of a real thing.
Well, they're carrion beetles. That's a real thing. There's
Right.
beetles that do eat rotting flesh and things like that, but not like freaking piranha. Like,
Dude.
most terrifying thing on the planet.
they
That
were
was probably
real
the
beetles,
scariest
but
part.
they were worshipped.
That's true. In ancient Egypt, right?
Yeah, but they didn't eat people alive.
Yeah.
You don't know. Were you there,
Dude.
Dan?
It's
Yeah, I'm moisturized. I'm older than I look.
with the first time they show the beetle like going into that fat guy's skin, and it like crawls up, and you know that it goes through his eye socket and into his brain, to eat it. And like, dude,
Ah.
I'm always just like, I don't think I watch most of the time because it's just too frightening.
There's a part in the Universal LA Mummy ride where you hit a wall and it like there's a projection and all the beetles start climbing out, and then in the ride at your legs they have like little jets of
No.
air that they start, and my wife screamed so loud.
That's
No one
awesome.
else even reacted because clearly everyone else had been on the ride before,
Right.
and you just hear this blood curdling scream. I look up like, are you okay? Like, are you fine?
That's hilarious.
It was so funny. She was so embarrassed. And now our 2 listeners in Ireland will know that story about my wife. So,
Out to Ireland.
Ireland. That's really funny.
we also picked up Singapore. That's a fun fact.
Oh, we did? I didn't
you
even
guys
check.
had-
Singapore and Ireland.
And what
Singapore,
was- and India, I think.
India,
But
and then I have a friend in Brazil. International. Now we just need somebody from Egypt.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide.
That's true.
thank goodness.
Oh,
So
I have a fun.
Go ahead.
One fun fact that I thought was crazy cool. I told you guys before, but for the people, this one's crazy because I imagine myself in this person's shoes. So a background extra in The Mummy, like, you know, just one of those random people that nobody even pays attention to in movies, is seen like wearing a robe, like a cloak, in the background. And they didn't realize until afterwards, but it's the same robe / cloak that Sir Alec Guinness wore as Obi-Wan in A New Hope, which is, can you imagine being that extra? Like, what do you do?
I would take that home.
Yeah, I would
I'd
steal
take
it easily and be like, oh yeah,
don't know what
I wore it in The
happened to it.
Mummy.
It was a $5 cloak.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to it.
Beats me.
Fun fact: the first two movies take place in Egypt, as we've been talking about. They actually weren't filmed in Egypt. They were not able to gain access to the country due to some civil unrest was happening in the country at the time. So they actually filmed in Morocco, which isn't too far away. But there's a bit of the Sahara Desert that's in Morocco, and so they used that for most of their shots. So fun factoid.
I
Fair.
got one with that too. Morocco wasn't super safe either, so all the cast members had kidnapping insurance, but they didn't know about it until after production was over.
Like, well, we're just taking this out on you. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it.
Exactly, yeah. The director's like, "Oh, I'll tell him afterwards," and that's what he did.
Just sign.
I'd be
Just
so
sign it.
mad.
You don't need to worry what it's all about. Just sign
Read.
it.
Don't need to read.
They probably should have had accidental death and dismemberment because, fun fact, Brendan Fraser almost actually was hung during the hanging scene in the first movie when he's sentenced to death. He was hanging there long enough with no airflow that he passed out and was unconscious for 18 seconds until the crews were able to revive him. And when he was asked about it in an interview, his words were, "I didn't like it. It hurt." So
I didn't like it. It hurt.
I wouldn't do it again, and I would not recommend it.
would not recommend. 1 star. Do not go here. No, do not subscribe.
So we're obviously in the fun fact section. Here's a fun fact that I just made up due to my disliking for The Rock. This is The Rock's best performance, which shows how bad of an actor The Rock is. Stop making him such a good actor because he's not. He plays the same character in every movie, and it's like a retired WWE actor, and that's exactly what he is.
It's true.
Sorry, I went on a rant. I don't like The Rock, and the Scorpion King is the stupidest thing in the world. And I just
That's
saw a
Scorpion
picture
King
of him.
movie. He did get the Guinness World Record at the time for the most amount of money paid to a single actor for a leading role in Scorpion King, which was $5.5 million for that dumpster fire of a movie. So
stupid.
Scorpion King is so bad. It's
The
not
Rock
a good movie.
is so overrated.
The only movies that I have thoroughly enjoyed that The Rock is in is the Jumanji movies because I think other actors in it are very funny.
See, that's true, but I can't even
I
blame
like
myself.
Jack Black very much. So
Yeah. And I want to say Jack Black. I met Jack Black. Yeah, I'm tooting my own horn. I met the guy, and he is exactly the same in real life as you would think he is. He's super funny, super chill, and he's like Ned Schneebly. You know, he's totally Dewey Finn from School of Rock. He's so funny. But
And Rip, not that he's dead, but his career's over. He said he retired.
Rip.
So
he's working on his
Jack
Instagram career, I think.
yeah, he wants to spend more
Ooh,
time
I
with
need
his
to follow
kids,
him.
and good for him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, honestly.
he says he's retired, but he's also retired, I think, 3 or 4 times
Wait,
now.
we're talking
so we'll
Jack
see.
Black, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
no,
talking
Michael
Jack
Jordan.
Black.
Michael Jordan.
No,
Michael Jordan retired.
so we'll see if
Like 3
so
times.
we'll see if this one actually sticks or not.
I see him hanging out with Tony Hawk all the time on Instagram.
You
Michael
know,
Jordan?
my
Or
no,
favorite
Jack
rock-
Black?
Can you imagine Michael Jordan and Tony Hawk?
That's all, dude. We're taking this half
Oh.
pipe, no big deal. Michael Jordan's actually the hidden playable character in the remake of
Oh, yeah,
Tony
he
Hawk's
is.
Pro Skater
Yeah.
1 and 2. That's not true. Don't fact
No,
check
it
me or
is.
anything.
It is.
Wait, can you play as Michael
yeah.
Jordan?
Oh, sorry, not Michael
Wait.
Jordan, but Jack Black. Jack Black.
Oh, you can?
I was like,
Jack-
oh, what?
Spoiler alert: Jack Black is the secret player in the new, like the reamp of.
I'm
Tony
okay
Hawk
with
Pro
that.
Skater.
That'll get me to buy it. Yeah.
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 I can
Does he
shell out
say
money
stuff
for that.
too?
I don't know. I haven't unlocked him. But that
Well,
game's
get
really
on
fun.
that and
Sorry, I'm
report
trying.
back.
I'm not that good at the game.
Is anyone?
Yeah.
This movie
okay.
series is a trilogy,
Yeah.
but don't
Huh.
bother watching the third one
I was gonna say
because it's
kind of debatable.
dumb.
That
It
movie
is about-
bad.
Actually, the third one did good in the box office, and they slated a 4th movie
It's true. It's true.
until they had gone down the path of wanting to do their dark anthology thing with the Mummy movie that they rebooted with Tom Cruise and wanting to make like a monster universe like the Marvel universe and have all
Oh,
these
yeah.
classic monster movies connected. It flopped. It's
That
no
makes
longer
sense.
a project anymore, I believe. But the 4th one was slated, and it was the working title was Rise of the Aztecs or something like that. And Antonio Banderas was going to be the
Antonio
mummy, I
Banderas.
believe, in that one. It was going to be like
Doesn't
an
he-
Aztec.
Doesn't he play Puss
War
in
Chief.
Boots?
Yes, Puss in
You
Boots.
were gonna have the dad from Spy Kids
Oh,
play a
yeah.
mummy?
Yeah,
Oh,
Heck
That's
yeah.
crazy.
little known fact, he's the dad in Spy Kids.
That's his biggest role, obviously.
Hey, I want to
Oh,
transition
God.
into favorite part from either the first or second because the third one doesn't count.
Okay.
But I don't. Do you guys have a favorite part of the movie?
I always thought that in the second movie, when the army of Anubis and I can't remember their name, the group of people who've always guarded
Magi or whatever.
The guys
The
wearing like
Magi.
the black clothes.
Yeah, and they had their big battle clash, and when
That's
you like
so
chopped
cool.
off the jackal's head, they turn into
Yeah.
sand or whatever. I was like, oh, that's super cool. And then it sucked when they all just came back after they won the fight, and then they all just like came back out of the sand. I was like, well, F, like there's no way they're gonna do this. And it was just like it's the same like iconic moment in like a lot of military movies of like we will fight until the last man. Like it's just that epic moment because I always liked the Magi guy as well in the first and second movies. I liked him as a character, and so for him to have that really bad A moment I really enjoyed that.
I read that guy, that main, what did you call him, the Magi guy or whatever? He was
Yeah.
wearing the black cloak. They were gonna kill him off in the first movie, but they decided to keep him
Oh,
on. He rewrote it.
No, I would be very sad.
What about you,
Yeah,
Dan?
thank
What's your favorite part?
goodness. I always liked the flying scenes. I thought those were super cool, especially when like Emotep's head would come out of the sand, or I think later it was like water at some point. But every time they would do those, I thought that was so cool as a little kid. I was also terrified, but it was really really cool. And then anything with Jonathan, I loved him. Or John? Is it John? Yeah, Jonathan or John.
Jonathan,
He's my
yeah.
favorite character.
Yeah, he's funny.
the drunk brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. The comic relief.
When they're on that ferry and like they're like in that gunfight and he sees them, all the Americans, he's like, Americans. And then he like there's like an
Yeah.
explosion and he falls off the boat. That part's funny.
I enjoyed him.
Yeah, he's funny. I think my favorite part, this is so dumb, but my favorite part is I don't even know if you guys are gonna remember it, but there's a part when in the first one, what's the name of like the city? Like the lost city that they're trying to find or whatever, where the tomb is.
Oh, hold on.
That's gonna kill me. Anyway, as you're finding that, as they're like when they first get there, and you know they're like split up, so there's like
Hamanoptera.
Hamanoptera. There you go. So
City of the Dead.
um, when they because they're like split up, you know, like there's like Brendan Fraser's group, and then there's like the Americans and their group and stuff.
Americans keep getting effed up. Yeah, okay.
But Brendan Fraser, when they first get there, Brendan Fraser's like, I think he's like tying up a horse or something, and he's got this long like lasso rope, and he's like flipping it over, and every time he flips it over, it's like hitting the fat guy that's with him, and, it's like, and he does it like 3 times, and I don't know why, but that part killed me. I just thought it was so
the guy
funny.
who sentenced him to death earlier. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. That guy's so funny.
I feel like that guy. I recognize that guy's voice.
Yeah.
He
You know who his voice reminds me of? And this might be it, is in the third Pirates of the Caribbean movie. There's like that guy who speaks for Hishumbabi or whatever, that one of the pirate lords, the like Indian pirate lord, and he's like, Hishumbabi, vote for Hishumbabi. And then he's like, hang the code. And then they like shoot him. Yeah, that guy. That's who I think it is. But
yes, that guy.
and then but my other favorite part is the one you said, Brian, the big battle in the second movie. That part is so cool. I love their curved swords that they have. Curved swords.
Yeah.
You see
The
those
scimitars.
warriors? They got curved swords. But yeah, those things are cool. That whole battle scene. Really though, if you think about this movie, the first one came out in 99. The second one came out in what? 2001 or whatever?
I think it was 01.
Yeah. They got really good CGI for it, if you ask me. I don't know. For its time.
Yeah,
and
for
like,
the time, it worked really well.
Technically, you could call it I mean, it's not like Lord of the Rings, you know? They don't have like this massive budget, I guess, but at least I feel like they probably didn't.
Funny you mentioned that. The same computer generation software used in Lord of the Rings for the big battle scenes was used in that scene you were talking about, Brian.
Oh.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I knew that. What? I knew that before I mentioned it. So
It's
You just want to give me a chance to say it, you know?
It's
yeah.
fun.
Gotta give Dan more screen time.
I like this movie though. I like The Mummy. I think everybody should go home and watch it again, if you ask me.
For everyone's edification, the third one's about a Chinese emperor who is like super evil, and there's yetis in it, and terracotta soldiers that come to life and stuff.
Yeah, cool concept, I guess.
Not that I don't think that like ancient China is cool,
because it is,
but it just didn't. It just didn't fit
It doesn't.
for me. They got a new main girl to
doesn't
play
fit the
the
vibe.
main female, and I really liked the original, the actress who played Evie in the first 2 movies. They replaced her in the third one because she was doing 2 other movies at the time and just didn't have time to give to this movie. And I think that was what hurt it the most, in my opinion, because I really enjoyed the acting from her in the first 2 movies.
I think my main thing is because I think like ancient China, ancient China, like history and stuff is really cool. But I think ancient Egypt, I think I said this earlier, but ancient Egypt's a little underrated. It's super interesting, super fun, super cool. Tons of stories you could do with that because there's tons of mysteries that we still don't understand. And
Mhm.
I just think it just didn't fit. You know, I don't when I think of mummies, I don't think of ancient Chinese emperors and terracotta warriors. You know,
Yeah,
I think of Egypt. So
yeah,
maybe don't call it the mummy, in my opinion. I don't know.
yeah. No, and I agree with you with the whole ancient Egypt as one of the main. Like when I think of ancient civilizations, people run through. They're like, oh, Egypt, Greece, Roman, like
Yeah,
ancient civilizations or whatever. But we know a lot about Greece and about Rome and about all that because a lot of their stuff still exists today. Not that that's not the same for Egypt, but they had a completely different writing system. And they built things that there is just no explanation for.
dude, no. I mean, like,
Whereas with Greece and Rome, it's like, oh, they invented the pulley system. They found out other things to do things, and they found ways to do their crafts. But like the pyramids alone, or the Great Sphinx, or other
dude,
big monuments in Egypt, it's just how in the
not
living
even
heck.
not even monuments. I read about this one thing about there's like these big like stone, I don't know what to call it, coffin tomb things
Hmm.
inside of a pyramid and not ground level, right? So like at least one story high or whatever. They found, and there was multiple. There was like a few rooms with a bunch of them, and
Hmm.
these slabs. So it's like six slabs creating a box, right? All put together, and these slabs are
Sure.
solid stone, and they are one slab, so not a bunch put together, not bricks or anything. And the whole boxes themselves weighed like tons, like actual tons. And um, they also are baffled because like the actual cut of the stone and angles and stuff were so perfect, they don't know how they did it. They said even today, if you wanted to get a cut that precise, you'd have to use like a laser cutter, like a computer to do
Yeah.
it for you. And so it just
Aliens, man.
it's
I'm just kidding.
insane. It's crazy.
Aliens. Y'all ever seen it? They got a whole
Aliens.
episode.
Something really crazy about the Great Pyramid of Giza. Um, the pyramids there were actually painted white on the outside when
Mhm.
they were first made, and the top, the very top, the pinnacle of them were made of gold.
Go
Um, and
Like solid gold or
scientists
gold leaf?
like no, like solid gold
solid.
topper.
Yeah.
Holy
Um,
cow.
Yeah.
and archaeologists and scientists have found evidence of thinly wired gold in some of the pyramids that was fed through most of the chambers, and they found out through scientific whatever discovery that the gold on the top was attached to this wiring, and at like the top of the day at like high noon there was enough like something was happening with the sun and the gold that the thinly wired gold throughout the pyramids would light up
What?
Right.
from electric conductivity
Shut your
because
mouth.
gold
So
is
it's
like
aliens.
majorly conductive for electricity. So they found out that it would glow red, like red hot, and it would give them light inside of the pyramids.
It's
That's nuts.
aliens.
That's crazy to me.
It's so crazy, man.
That actually is
Like,
like, dude, that's like one of the things when I started watching The Mummy, I got super into just diving into ancient Egypt stuff. And there's like a mural in I don't know if it was in a pyramid or just some tomb they found deep in the ground, and it's like one of many rooms that they found or whatever. And there's
mhm,
like this mural thing on the wall, and the picture is like this flower that is like representationally, right? It's a beam of fire is coming out of the flower, and inside the flower there's like a snake, and it's being held up
mm,
by a column, but the column has arms and hands, and that's what's holding it up. And the picture of that though looks exactly like the design for a light bulb that was made in like the 1800s or whatever. Um, Especially like the snake is like the little coil inside the light bulb.
mm,
And the weirdest part about that mural is in that room where they found it, It was the only room out of all the rooms there that did not have evidence of a light source. All the other ones had like oil lamp or lamps of some sort, torches, whatever, inside their rooms, except for this one. It didn't have anything. And it was just like, what is going on? Ancient Egypt is nuts. It's crazy. Another fun fact,
Oh,
in the early 2000s, a young boy had his mom make him a mummy costume, and he won the Halloween costume contest in downtown Troutdale, Oregon. And that little boy was me. I won the contest. That's pretty cool.
I was like, what does this have to do with anything?
I had to brag. I haven't spoken about it in
You know, I
years.
don't think I ever went down the mummy road as a kid for Halloween.
That was the only time.
I wrapped myself in toilet paper.
I did do Undead Viking once.
Hey,
that
that's
was that was interesting.
Halloween's fun.
Yeah,
Halloween's
It
an
really
underrated
is.
holiday, I think.
I'm going to a murder mystery dinner party for Halloween, so I'm
I did
Who are you
that
gonna
once.
kill?
excited about that. I don't think I get to kill anybody, but I'm supposed to be the governor
You should-
of the town.
Hey, you
You
should.
should kill someone anyway.
Yeah, dude, you should dress up as one of the characters from Among Us.
We need to play that. We need to
do.
play that.
It's like
together.
free on the phone, I think, right?
Yeah,
It is. It's totally free on the phone.
I really don't understand that game. I haven't.
We've
even
What
played
really
color
it.
did you
got. Have
guys
you ever played
choose?
Mafia?
Yeah.
It's Mafia,
Okay.
but there's more to it.
No.
You
Really,
actually
but
get to do
at
stuff instead of just closing
At
your
its
eyes.
core, it's Mafia, but the people who aren't the killers have to go do stuff, and then if everybody who's not the killer does those little things, they win.
Ah. That sounds
But
It's fun.
fun. Well, I
It's a
think.
good
It's fun when you play with people you know.
Yeah.
Also, I tried Fall Guys Season 2 today. I hate it. It is so hard. I wanted to cry. It was so hard.
It's not hard until you uninstall it, Brian. Come on, everyone knows that.
I know.
That's funny. I think this is a good place. I mean, The Mummy's a great movie. We advise you to all go and
It really
watch The
is.
Mummy. This
Classic.
This episode
And the
is
Mummy too.
This episode is sponsored by The Mummy and The Mummy Returns and Brennan Fraser and everything. No, it's not. I wish.
Don't
Brendan
come
Fraser.
after us, Brandon Fraser.
Brendan
Yeah.
Fraser, we know you're listening in Ireland. Let us know. You can get a guest on our show.
I thought he was the one in Singapore. I guess I mixed that up.
He's got a few houses.
Son of
okay.
a-
But
I-
next week is going to be super fun. Next week's going to be, we're having our friend Connor come on, DC nerd. We're talking about a special
Marvel.
character,
Damn.
a favorite character from the DC universe. I will not spoil it here. It will be super fun. I'm trying to I haven't told you guys, but I'm going to try and figure out a way to make it super fun instead of just like fun facts all the time or like, what's your favorite one? I'm going to try and figure out something we could do. I don't know though. Maybe some type of fun trivia.
Slideshow.
A PowerPoint.
No.
PowerPoint.
But yeah, that's gonna be super fun. But it's gonna be. I mean, DC is kind of a spooky related universe anyway, so we're keeping it spooky for October. Brian, were you gonna say something? Because your face looked like you were gonna say something.
I can say that I enjoy doing podcast stuff. Wow, that was
That was so stupid. All right, well, thanks for listening. That was super fun.
I like podcasts.
You could
I
find
like Totals.
I like Totos. Hey, that kid was dressed up for Halloween too, so that works.
Hey.
You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, other podcast places. Yeah, and we're having fun talking spooky stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come join our Discord too.
Yeah.
Council of Nerds Discord. Tell us what you're going to be for Halloween.
Ooh, yeah.
It doesn't have to be nerdy,
No.
but we'd love to know. Maybe give us some ideas. I'm
That's
going to be
nerdy to me.
I'm going to be a sleazy politician from the South. So
Hey,
Hmm.
you know what's oh, I guess that's not very nerdy. I was gonna say most Halloween costumes are nerdy anyway. I guess
true.
that still makes sense. Anyway, but yeah, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
The Council of Nerds.